afternoon, everybody. This is Vivica from the Nourish Caveman and the Healing Foods Method. So today I have a very interesting topic for you that I think is going to be relevant for a lot of women, especially perimenopausal women. So we're talking about heavy periods and being exhausted and having not just heavy, but really difficult, painful periods and feeling exhausted all the time. What could be happening? Well, these are one of the cases where you might have estrogen dominance combined with adrenal fatigue. So how many of you could possibly be experiencing estrogen dominance without knowing, and in addition to that, have adrenal fatigue? So today I want to talk to you about the correlations. We've been going today, this month is adrenal month, where I've been focusing on the health of your adrenals, adrenal fatigue, adrenal exhaustion, cortisol, everything that involves the adrenals. And, we say in nutrition, adrenals regulate the quality of your life. So for me, it's a very important topic because who doesn't want to have great life quality, right? So last week we talked about adrenal and thyroid, and today we're going to talk about adrenals and estrogen dominance and the correlation and the hormones. This is supposed to be a Q&A. It's the place where I bring you relevant information, especially regarding your lifestyle and your health as a keto woman, especially women over 40 that have been doing a ketogenic diet or are on a ketogenic diet and lifestyle, but also coming maybe from different diets and changing lifestyle and all the challenges, the health challenges, especially the hormonal challenges that we may face. I speak a lot about hormones, perimenopause, menopause. This is what I do in my practice. I work with a lot of women with those issues, and I face them myself as well. So a first-hand experience, nothing like some good first-hand experience when it comes to sharing your challenges and having to address them. Bad periods and exhaustion. Where do we start? So we start from estrogen dominance. I think that there has been a lot of talk nowadays about estrogen dominance. First of all, let's examine what does it mean. It means that in your body as a woman, the level of estrogen is much higher or higher than the level of progesterone. So this is relative. The levels are relative to each other, is not in absolute. That means that if your estrogen is really low and your progesterone is just a little bit lower, then you have low estrogen, but you also have estrogen dominance because your progesterone is lower and the ratios are not adequate. So estrogen dominance is relative to the amount of progesterone that your body contains. Why is this so important? Well, in our cases, we're looking at this from the angle of adrenal health and adrenal fatigue. It's really important because progesterone is directly correlated to adrenal health. If you look at the adrenal hormonal cascade of like cholesterol, the cholesterol-based hormones, which include estrogen, progesterone, and cortisol, the mother of all hormones from cholesterol is DHEA. From DHEA, we go down into pregnenolone, and from pregnenolone, the cascade, that's a word, hormonal cascade, is splits into different pathways. One is the one from progesterone to cortisol, while the other one goes to estrogen. So what happens is that because progesterone and cortisol are just basically one step away from each other in this hormonal cascade of like one hormone gets converted into the other, they are supportive of each other. So when we have high estrogen and low progesterone, adrenal health will suffer. So what happens if it's kind of one of those catch-22 situations that happen a lot in the body? They're self-reinforcing cycles of dysfunction. I talk about it a lot. I talk about it a lot with my clients in order for them to understand how are things connected inside your body. You really want to understand these connections because you want to see that we're not designed like the medical model will describe sometimes, like individual system of the body kind of isolated in space. Everything is connected. Our hormones are all connected, and it's very important because we can't fix a system in the body without addressing the dysfunctions or functions of the systems that are connected. So progesterone and adrenals and progesterone and cortisol, you need to keep an eye on that. That's really important because when your progesterone is too low and your estrogen is too high, a number of things will happen. So let's look. I'm going to read you, there is a lot of them, but I'm going to read you a list of symptoms of estrogen dominance. And please chime in if you're watching and let me know if any of those apply to you, because then we can have a conversation and you can ask me questions and I can see if this applies to you and if you might possibly have estrogen dominance. It's hard to say only by a symptom or two, but at least it's a red flag. It gives us an idea. So symptoms of estrogen dominance: anxiety, irritability, anger, agitation, irregular and painful periods, cramps, heavy bleeding, prolonged bleeding, and clots, problems with sex drive, water retention, weight gain, bloating. How many of my clients, I hope some of my current patients are watching this or will watch this, because so many of you tells me, I'm bloated, I don't know why, I'm bloated. And we are doing everything right for the intestines are working fine, and still there is bloating. Well, that could be high estrogen or relative estrogen dominance. Gallbladder problems, I always talk about that as well. When estrogen is high, bile gets thicker and thicker. So with estrogen dominance, as we get older, that's why so many women have gallbladder problems, because of estrogen dominance. The bile gets thick and it sticks into the gallbladder, and then there are painful gallbladder attacks or gallbladder symptoms, and that's what happens. Mood swings, depression, weepiness, headaches, migraines, endometriosis, that's a big one. Food cravings, how about that? Estrogen dominance, not just bad periods, but also food cravings. So sometimes you're plagued by those pesky food cravings, they will not go away. It's not just metabolic, it is hormonal. It's really important to understand that. Polycystic ovaries, how about that? Muscle pains, joint pains, back pain, that's a big one as well. Uterine fibroids, acne, cervical dysplasia, foggy thinking, allergic tendencies, and fat gain in the abdomen, hips, and thighs. So if any of you watching has any of these symptoms, you can chime in and tell me, and you don't have to disclose exactly which symptom, but it'd be really interesting to see how many of my listeners today can relate to this condition, because they say research says that estrogen dominance is extremely prevalent in women, especially in perimenopause going towards menopause. And how does this all relate to the adrenals? Again, it's a direct correlation through progesterone and cortisol, and also because estrogen dominance is a stressor, and it's another stressor that our adrenals need to cope with. The other important pathway that's affected by estrogen dominance is the thyroid. We talked about thyroid last week, so please go look at the video from last week. It's both here on Facebook and on YouTube. And we talked extensively about that connection, the adrenal thyroid connection. So it's all connected. And this week we're exploring more the ovary adrenal connection, but the thyroid is right there. It's like a triangle from your thyroid down to adrenals right here, and ovaries right here. I can't see them, I'm too close to the camera. So let's look at some of the common causes for estrogen dominance. And I think that here, this is where the juicy stuff comes. So please pay attention, because knowing where these conditions, how they develop, will help you avoid them and will help you take care of them if you are experiencing them. So the first one of the main ones, is bad diet, high carb diet, and consumption of trans fats. So not enough good fats in the diet, but rancid inflammatory trans fats. Nutritional deficiencies, that is of course always a big one for any condition in the body. Another really big one, I think this is for me number one of why estrogen dominance develops, is xenohormone exposure. What does that mean? It means being exposed to all those fake hormones that act as hormones, but they're artificial. They're in the environment. Examples, facial creams. Facial anti-wrinkle creams, they use xenoestrogens, so that, you know, one of the effects of estrogen is to keep your skin nice and soft and wrinkle-free. So that's why every anti-aging cream that you can buy, L'Oreal or Shiseido, can't pronounce it, anything else that you buy over the counter will have xenoestrogens. And as you put them on your face, they will go into your bloodstream and they will raise your estrogen levels. Plus, when you have too much estrogen, it gets stored in your fat cells. And as we just talked about, you tend to accumulate fat because estrogen is high. Other causes of estrogen dominance, contraceptives, of course. You know, lifelong use for some of you of contraceptives. I was myself on contraceptives, oral contraceptives, the pill, for maybe 8-9 years, and I suffered the repercussions. A lot of you who come off the pill will go straight into estrogen dominance, and then fertility would be affected, and weight gain, migraines, which was another one of the symptoms we just talked about. HRT can cause estrogen dominance, which is hormone replacement therapy, especially when done with synthetic hormones. Synthetic estrogens are very dangerous, and it is known that they are linked to cancer, to causing of cancer, especially uterine cancer, endometrial cancer. Adrenal fatigue is also not just an effect, a result of estrogen dominance, but is a cause of estrogen dominance. So as you can see here, there are all these loops that our health gets into, and back and forth, you know. And then obesity, because adipose cells, fat cells, produce their own estrogen. So the more fat cells, the larger the fat cells, the more estrogen they will produce. All right, before we go into estrogen dominance repair, I want to hear if anybody out there has any questions. It's been very quiet today. Must be because it's not Thursday, where my usual crew is watching and asking tons of questions, but please don't be shy. Chime in, at least say hi. I know I've seen a couple of my usual watchers that appeared, so maybe the internet is not working and I'm not getting your comments, but I see that some of you are watching. So if you could be so kind to just write me something and let me know, yes, Vivica, we can hear you and we are here. Maybe not. Well, I'm here now, so let's finish this video. And hopefully it will be recording and you will be able to watch it later if the live is not working today because of the weather. So what do we do? Amanda, thank you. Somebody, yay, somebody's there. Thank you, Amanda. Can you hear me okay? Thank you for chiming in. Appreciate that. And do you have any questions? So let's talk about repair. What do we do to fix estrogen dominance? And by the way, ladies, mainly ladies watching, is this topic of interest to you? Please give me some feedback. I know there are some of you watching. Is this interesting? Is this valuable? Is this helpful? And if it's not, or maybe it's boring, it's too dense, it's too technical, I will really love your feedback because, you know, it takes a lot of time and energy for me to do these videos. And if they're not, you know, interesting for anybody, I really could do something else that could bring you more value. So please chime in and let me know what you think. You know, I want to be helpful. I want to not just like showcase my knowledge, because that doesn't really do anything. You know, if this is not useful for something, I can just keep my knowledge in my brain and you can read it in the book. Okay, so feedback is very welcome. And now let's go to the last part. So how do we repair estrogen dominance? First and foremost, we need to support the liver. And you probably, if you heard any other of my videos, you know, I talk about this extensively, liver, liver, liver. Why is this so important? Because the liver is the hub where you detox the hormones out. So if you have too many hormones or your levels are high, your body will naturally try to detox them out. So by supporting the liver, we support elimination of the hormones and general hormone balance. And how do we support the liver? We already talked about this, but eating liver supporting foods like bitter grains, doing coffee enemas, avoiding bad foods and foods like, you know, hydrogenated fats and toxic processed food and preservatives and GMO foods. All of that can support the liver. Then we can do phytoestrogen support when in menopause, especially in menopause. So now this is after the periods. I guess that doesn't really apply so much because we were talking about heavy periods, but as we look at estrogen dominance in general, that can happen even after menopause because it's still relative. You might have low estrogen in menopause, but you have -0, minus progesterone, then you're still estrogen dominant. So supporting with phytoestrogens as well as with herbal progesterone stimulants like chaste tree and black cohosh. Those are two of the main herbs that are used for this support. And then avoiding substances with estrogenic effect like soy and like we said before, what did I give an example? Now it escapes me. Oh yeah, the face creams, and then a lot of like beauty products have them, and candles, believe it or not, they have estrogenic compounds. Dryer sheets are full of estrogenic compounds. So don't ever use conventional dryer sheets. Try to use organic ones or try to use those big woolen balls that you put in your dryer, non-toxic stuff. And then let me see. The last one I want to mention is iodine. And if you go to my blog, thenourishedcaveman.com, there is a long post about iodine. It's called Iodine, the Unsung Hero. Iodine is one of my favorite supplements, favorite remedies in general that I use for so many different things. But iodine for me is at the bottom, the staple of hormonal balance, especially when it comes to thyroid. But because they're all connected, also for estrogen dominance. So look at my blog, you can search The Nourished Caveman, there is a little search bar. I will post the URL of that post under the video so you'll be able to watch it. So I think we covered it all, and we looked at the connection between estrogen dominance, adrenal fatigue, thyroid as well, the bad periods, the symptoms, and we looked at how to resolve it. So this would be a great time for questions. If you have any questions or any feedback for me, or if you want to leave it in the video afterwards, I will be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching me, and I hope this information again is helpful for you. You can email me if you have any questions, vivica@thenourishedcaveman.com, and you can leave comments below. Thank you so much. If you want to follow my blog, is thenourishedcaveman.com, my website, and I also am on Instagram, The Nourished Caveman, and of course here on my page on Facebook. Oh yeah, and don't forget my YouTube channel where everything, all the videos end up, so you can find all the information you need that you might want. It's kind of like a big library of information. I hope you will have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And I know probably that's what's going on. Everybody's out shopping for Thanksgiving. So have a wonderful day, and please keep posting comments. I will keep replying to them. And I will see you next week for another episode of the Keto Q&A. Thank you.